All right, all right, all right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is 12 Gauge. Welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for returning and spending some time with me and the situation that I talk about. Tonight or today, we're going to talk about true crime. We're going to talk about some events. Let me take these off. Had them on because my eyes are still burning a little bit. Um, Today, I'm going to talk about some true crime that is I guess they call it the Mid East, Milwaukee, Ohio area. I'm going to talk about two cases. One I mentioned last night in my stream that went really long. Thank you so much for the people that were here and sat through that 3 hour live. Um, you know, I want to just put a little bit of the chat rules out there right quick before I get started. If you come in the chat, I don't mind you being here. I don't mind it at all. Like I said, everybody's thoughts and feelings are valid, but please try to stay on topic. If we're not talking about the Idaho 4 case or we're not talking about another case, please try to stick to the cases that I'm discussing at the moment. Because what it does, it throws off people and their attention to what they're watching. I've been told that, whenever other topics are brought up, it kind of throws people off. So if you're in the chat, please be respectful, please be classy, and please try to stick to the topic. Also, there'll be no bullying, name calling, or any of that stuff in the chat because there's no room for it. If you become belligerent or you start to disrupt the chat, I'll ask you to refrain from your behaviors. And if you continue, then you might not be in the chat very much longer. Um, I don't like doing that. I believe that we're all adults and we can govern ourselves accordingly, especially when you know what's expected of you. So, um, let's talk about the first case that I brought up, and this is a Milwaukee man that ended up dying in a hotel lobby. I don't know a lot about it. I just caught it. Like I said, I was at the Hard Rock, um, and the sound was down, but I could read the subtitles. Cash, you're okay. I'm not talking about you. Um, so I could only read the subtitles, and I wanted to talk about it to see exactly what happened to this individual because it looked like it was pretty brutal. So let's dive into that, guys. Here we go. Can y'all hear me okay? Can y'all see me okay? Everything's flowing well? Okay, here we go.
Into the death of a man pinned down by security guards outside a Milwaukee hotel. Part of the confrontation was caught on camera, and the case has now been ruled a homicide. ABC's Morgan Norwood is here with more. Morgan, good morning.
Good morning to you, Will. Yes, a really disturbing case here. The widow of Devontae Mitchell speaking out overnight, telling ABC News that autopsy report confirms what she says we see on that newly released hotel surveillance video. And she says that her husband was killed by those 4 hotel employees. And we warn you that video this morning is disturbing.
This morning, the death of Devontae Mitchell, the black man seen here dragged and pinned down by hotel staff, officially ruled a homicide. An autopsy report by the Milwaukee County Medical Examiner determining he died by restraint asphyxia and toxic effects of cocaine and methamphetamine. His family says he was having a mental health episode when he frantically showed up to the Hyatt Regency on June 30th. This newly released hotel surveillance video by Mitchell's attorney showing the disturbing moments leading up to Mitchell's death, unleashing another round of heartbreak for his widow, DeAsia Harmon.
It broke something inside of me because it was so brutal, and just what they did to him, it's unbelievable.
In this video, you see Mitchell running into the gift shop and eventually into the women's bathroom. The situation escalating as hotel security confront him and begin to escort Mitchell out. One hotel employee punching him in the face before guest jumps into the beating. Mitchell then dragged out of the hotel doors. Graphic video showing hotel staff pinning down the 43-year-old father for nearly 8 minutes as he screamed in agony for help.
Justice for who? Devontae!
Mitchell unresponsive when police arrive at the scene. This morning, prosecutors reviewing requests to file.
So let me know what you think. It's not quite over, but can you tell me a little bit about your thoughts about this situation? Um, do you believe that the hotel employees were wrong in the way they addressed that based on the video cam footage that we have from this situation? And then I'll tell you mine because it does show a lot of things um, that possibly could have been done wrong. You know, we don't know the whole story other than what the autopsy stated. The autopsy stated that it was death by asphyxia and cocaine intoxication. You know, very, very good, Truth. You know, that's right. And there was a time in our country where they used to call that hog tying. They'd put your hands behind your back, tie your hands, your feet, and tie them together, and you'd be laying on your stomach. And a lot of people asphyxiated that way. Um, but it's sad to me that these individuals could not have just allowed the man to. I mean, I don't know he did anything wrong. I'm going to continue to investigate this, but it's sad to me that what we see on camera, you don't really see a lot of malicious acts other than he's trying to get away from them. You don't see that he's running with, any kind of jewelry, any kind of money, any kind of purses or anything like that and it makes you wonder, what was he running from? What was he running from other than the potential fear of being done the way he was done? Yes, exactly. You could have got him out and locked the doors, exactly. Um, and wait till police arrive. You're right. Y'all guys are right on because it seemed like they all dog piled on him and they were laying on him. I stepped away to get a morning energy drink. If you don't mind, let me play this again because I missed it. I missed a lot of it. So let me play it again, just to this part.
Milwaukee County medical examiner determining he died by restraint asphyxia and toxic effects of cocaine and methamphetamine. His family says he was having a mental health episode when he
Okay.
frantically showed up to the Hyatt Regency on June 30th. This newly released hotel surveillance video by Mitchell's attorney showing the disturbing moments leading up to Mitchell's death.
Okay. So right there, you see that hotel employee throwing some hands, boy. He's throwing some hands. You know, he, it said he had a mental health episode. So he had cocaine and methamphetamine. So he was probably in a state of psychosis. I'm not a doctor. I'm not an expert on that, but I do understand what cocaine and methamphetamine do to the body. So, um, usually it's referred to Molly as the Molly pill, that sustains the energy and everything else. So if he was having a bad reaction to that, they could have explained he went in there and they could have been saying, "Hey, sir, you need to leave. You can't come in here. You need to leave." Yeah, they look like security. They don't look like police. See that one dressed in a suit, just like a greeter in a hotel. He could have been a manager. These other guys were probably just valet or something because it looks like a pretty upscale hotel. And let me continue to play this. Anytime that you have those two chemicals inside of you, it's not a good thing.
Unleashing another round of heartbreak for his widow, Deasia Harmon.
It broke something inside of me because it was so brutal and just what they did to him. Um, it's unbelievable.
In this video, you see Mitchell running into the gift shop and eventually into the women's bathroom. The situation escalating as hotel security confront him and begin to escort Mitchell out. When
Okay, right there. Did you see him in a defensive, please get away from me kind of, his hands were up like this, like please stay away, and he was backing up. So that doesn't show a threat. It shouldn't show a threat to people that are trying to de-escalate the situation. Wouldn't you think? What do y'all think, guys? What do y'all think? Do you think the security was in the right, or do you feel that they escalated the situation, to possibly have made the situation worse? Because if you're like, hey, I'm not trying to do anything. I'm not trying to start any trouble. I'm just trying to, I might be confused. I might be, running around, whatever. And I have my hands up like this. That's not saying that I'm trying to hurt you. In my eyes, anyways, all the self defense classes that, you know, that I've taken, the moment you put your hands up and they're open like this is a very non confrontational stance that says, hey, my hands aren't closed, I'm not going to punch you, none of this. And they continued to attack him at that point. It doesn't look like there was much de escalation attempted. Because look at this part. Let me rewind this a little bit.
Mitchell out, one hotel employee punching him in the face before guest jumps into the beating. Mitchell then dragged out of the
See, let me rewind to the part where he
to
right
the
here.
women's bathroom, the situation escalating as hotel
He's
security
back.
confront him and begin to escort Mitchell out. One hotel employee punching him in the face before guest jumps into the beating. Mitchell then dragged out of the hotel doors. Graphic video showing hotel staff pinning down the 43-year-old father for nearly 8 minutes as he screamed in agony for help.
Justice for who? Devontae.
Mitchell unresponsive when police arrive at the scene.
Pinned down for 8 minutes, guys. Pinned down for 8 minutes. 8 minutes. You can't breathe. You have people on you. You have these type of things going on, and people are just jumping on you, grabbing on you, trying to pull you out. That one guy wasn't even a hotel employee. He was just a bystander, it looked like. The guy in the camo shorts, it looked like he possibly could have been staying at the hotel and assisting the security. I mean, that's not his job to be getting the individual out of the hotel. I mean, if you fear, see, I don't understand in these bigger cities. I don't understand if it's they've called the police and the police take forever to get there because they're short staffed or they're putting crimes ahead of situations like this. So people are handling them themselves and they're handling the situation wrong. Or they didn't want to call the cops and they wanted to handle it themselves. So either way, he didn't deserve what he got, because he had his hands up. He had a non-threatening stance, and he was backing up. They were coming at him.
This morning, prosecutors reviewing requests to file felony charges.
What these videos demonstrate is that he was brutally beaten to death. And, that is so wrong. And it was at the hands of Ambridge Hospitality employees who were not trained. Flat, that's what they told police. We had no training.
And the hotel group says it's doing everything it can to support that police. And
Well, there's no training because you should know that you don't put your hands on people. You don't put your hands on people for any reason. You call the police or you call your security staff to de-escalate the situation. There's no reason this man should have been treated this way. This is so awful, guys. Especially if you say we weren't trained. Okay, then you basically murdered a person due to negligence, due to your inability to control your emotional attachment to the situation. What was he doing that was so malicious that you had to drag him out of the hotel lobby? What was he doing? That's the question I'm asking in my mind. What was this man doing that contemplated them grabbing, tackling him, jumping on him, trying to get him out of the hotel? I mean, there's two sides to every story. We're obviously seeing the camera views. We're hearing from the family. We're hearing all this. But based on what I've seen, and this is the factual part of it, based on the fact that I've seen on what this has shown, this man wasn't in the wrong other than he was a mental health crisis and he was possibly looking for assistance. Maybe he wanted to wash his face. Maybe he had to go to the bathroom. Maybe he had to do something. What constituted these people to jump on him? Let's watch it one more time, guys. From right here.
Methamphetamine. His family says he was having a mental health episode when he frantically showed up to the Hyatt Regency on June 30th. This newly released hotel surveillance video by Mitchell's attorney showing the disturbing moments leading up to Mitchell's death,
Okay.
unleashing another round of heartbreak for his widow.
So right there, when he's out of the hotel, that's probably where they jumped on him. That's probably where they jumped on him outside. So he was technically, yes, exactly, truth. He was technically outside of the hotel. At that point, they should have just let him go. Let him go. Why continue to plummet him and hurt him?
Deasia Harmon.
It broke something inside of me because it was so brutal and just what they did to him. It's unbelievable.
In this video, you see Mitchell running into the gift shop and eventually into the women's bathroom. The situation escalating as hotel security confront him and begin to escort Mitchell out. One hotel employee punching him in the face before guest jumps into the beating. Mitchell then dragged out of the hotel doors. Graphic video showing hotel staff pinning down the 43-year-old father for nearly 8 minutes as he screamed in agony for help.
Justice for who? Devontae!
Mitchell unresponsive when police arrive at the scene. This morning, prosecutors reviewing requests to file felony charges.
What these videos demonstrate is that he was brutally beaten to death. And, that is so wrong. And it was at the hands of Ambridge Hospitality employees who were not trained. Flat, that's what they told police. We had no training.
And the hotel group says it's doing everything it can to support that police investigation in a statement saying it will continue our own investigation, which has already resulted in the termination of several associates who violated our policies and procedures.
All right, Morgan Norwood for us. Thank you.
See, that's bullcrap. How come they don't have charges filed against them? They murdered a man. They murdered a man. How come they don't have charges against them? How come they don't have charges? I don't know. If I was a family or, if my family, if something happened to me, I would hope that they'd seek as much as they could when it comes to something like this, because that was murder. Manslaughter at best. Yeah, manslaughter at best. Let's see.
New video was released in the case of a man who died outside a downtown hotel.
The medical examiner released the autopsy report today, ruling Devontae Mitchell's death is a homicide. Stephanie Quirk joins us live downtown with this new surveillance video that shows the moments leading up to his death.
Yeah, William Sultan, the attorney representing Mitchell's family, held a press conference earlier where he showed this new surveillance video from the Hyatt, which he says he obtained through a subpoena. I do want to warn you, what I'm about to show you is graphic. Now, in this first video, you can see Mitchell being dragged outside by a member of the hotel staff and a man Sultan says was a guest at the Hyatt on June 30th. The video also shows one hotel employee beating Mitchell, and seconds later, another employee punches him before dragging him out to the sidewalk. The second video shows a different angle from outside of Mitchell being thrown to the sidewalk and punched. It then shows 4 employees holding him down until police arrived. We know that once officers arrived, Mitchell was unresponsive. In this last video, it shows minutes before he was dragged outside, running through the lobby and entering the women's bathroom. Only a minute or so later, Mitchell is seen being pulled out of the bathroom by an employee who holds on to Mitchell while bringing him through the hotel lobby towards the exit. That employee and a hotel guest is seen on camera punching Mitchell and dragging him outside. We now know from the medical examiner, Mitchell.
See, there was more footage in this one than there was in the other one. So we were able to see a little bit more of the situation. Yeah, you're right, Rondi. It seems that they lost their tempers and they dogpiled them and they dragged them out. So could it have been as merely as him running into the women's bathroom that angered these people? And they did what they did? I mean, there you go, Truth. You said, let me put your comment up here. I like what you say. You said it happened to older guys who don't have very good range of motion in their shoulders. So when they're cut behind their back, lungs have limited expansion. There's almost always a speedy drug. You're right. Let me welcome everybody to the chat. Those of you that are coming in, Aquarius, Cash, Truth, Rondi. I saw Allie Brooks in here earlier. Thank you so much for being here. I didn't have a chance to really say hello to you guys. I just got into the video because I wanted to really get into this and dive into it really. So even if he ran into the women's bathroom, that still does not placate the amount and severity of his beating. I mean, I've been around people that are high off methamphetamine. I've been around people that are high off coke. They're not violent for the most part. They're paranoid. They're they're very jumpy and edgy. So any quick motion, it kind of instantly throws them into a paranoia. At least the ones that I've seen. So all those people coming at him, you can't tell me that he wasn't scared for his life.
Final cause of death is listed as restraint asphyxia and toxic effects of cocaine and methamphetamine. It also noted that the injury was caused when Mitchell was restrained in prone position by multiple individuals after drug use.
We're just fighting for basic, simple justice here. We're not asking for any special treatment. We're not asking for anything extraordinary. A man beaten to death on a sidewalk, yeah, charges should be issued.
If he was wrong, he could have went to jail. I would have felt so much better about that. Not this. It's not fair.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, the district's attorney's office is still reviewing felony murder charges referred by Milwaukee Police Department for those 4 individuals that held Mitchell down on June 30th. They have since been fired from the Hyatt. At this time, though, no charges have been filed. Sultan is also calling on the Hyatt to compensate Mitchell's family. Reporting live outside the Hyatt, Stephanie Quirk, Fox 6 News.
We'll see what the
Let me ask you guys, that's the last one I'm going to show on that one. Then we're going to move on to the other one. Let me ask you, do you believe, I want you to type in the chat, do you believe yes or no, charges should be filed on the employees and the bystander, the guest, that jumped on him until police arrived and ultimately caused his death? Do you believe that they should have charges filed against them? Yes or no? Okay. I agree with you, Toes. I agree with you as well. Everybody in chat, I agree with you. You know, Toes said if they would have recognized, I don't have my glasses on, if they would have recognized the problem, isolated staff and guests for their safety, called the authorities, he would have only been a threat to himself. Ultimately, the hotel is responsible. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, they should be filed. There should be charges filed against them. You know, regardless of the man's situation, whether he was high, whether he wasn't, that doesn't come into account of anything, you know, because he was not swinging on them. He was not coming at them. They were coming at him. Did y'all see that? They were coming at him, backing him into a corner. They were swinging on him. That one employee was going off. I mean, he was not allowing him to stand his ground. They were knocking him to the ground. At what point? And this is in another case that I covered, where the gentleman stabbed 5 people in the river, the Apple River case, and we discussed that as well. At what point is the individual no longer a threat to you? And that's what I want to ask you guys. At what point did this individual not become a threat to the security anymore or the hotel? Because was it the point where he put his hands up to back them away, you know, like leave me alone? Was it that point? Could he have been saying, hey, help? You know, they said he was yelling for help. I don't know if you've ever been in a position where you've been held down like that, but a minute feels like an eternity. I can't imagine 8 minutes of grown people holding you and punching you and kicking you, because you saw that in the camera, did you not? You know, you saw that in that video. In multiple videos, they were kicking him, punching him, dragging him. So when he was on the ground, when they had him outside the hotel, that's when they should have let go. They should have locked the doors, the sliding doors, locked the doors, and that would have been the end of it. In my thoughts. I don't know what your thoughts are on that. Please share with me because I'm interested to know before I move on to the next case. I'm interested to know what your thoughts are on this situation. Should they have kept moving that into the sidewalk, or should they have left it alone the moment he was outside the threshold of the hotel? Because technically, the sidewalk is a public area. You know, the hotel doesn't own the sidewalk; it owns the building. Let me know what you think. Do y'all believe that, at that point when the man was outside the hotel, they should have let him go? Especially if he's on the ground. Yes, you remove and hit the locked doors. He was on the ground. He was yelling for help. Let him be. The police came and he was unresponsive when they got there. And I'm sure people were like, well, I don't know what happened. He was just running around the hotel and I guess he just tired himself out. We were trying to get him out of the hotel. That's not right. They were beating this man. I'm sure this is going to turn into a big situation to be watching for it. I hope the family does get justice in this. I hope they get everything that they deserve at this point in this day of what I know about this case. If it changes and the man was threatening or whatever, it still did not constitute his murder. You know? Okay, I like that, Toes. You said my security don't have the right to put hands on you. Their main job is to retort most, not mine. Oh, yeah. Their main job is to kind of keep the individual from going through the hotel and potentially harming other people. Report, yes, exactly. They could have cornered him and just stood there and talked him down. That is de-escalation. You put your hand down and you talk to this individual and ask him what's going on. Where's his mindset? I mean, that's common sense. But I guess common sense isn't too common anymore. You know? It seems like anybody in power has a thirst for violence. Like we were talking about last night. It seems like the moment that you're given a little bit of authority, you get that thirst for power and control and violence. They didn't have to go the extra way. They didn't have to do all that. That's my opinion at this point because I don't know anything other than what's been reported on those videos and everything else. But I didn't see the man attacking anyone. I didn't see him swinging. And if he was swinging, he could have been defending himself from the onslaught of younger, more physically fit individuals. It seems like overall you agree with me on this situation, that it was handled very, very poorly. And like I said, I saw this on the TV and I wanted to report on it because it needs to be put out there that people aren't always handling situations the right way. In this instance, it caused the death of an individual. Yeah, you said it's a poor training issue and limited sense of physiology. You're right. Oh, and he happened to be white. So this kind of crap isn't a race issue. I mean, the whole situation was wrong. It could have been aliens that drug him out and, a cartoon character or whatever. I mean, the end result, the man lost his life due to negligence. You know, it's terrible. It's terrible that this happened. So I will keep up on this, and you guys that are creators, um, maybe you can keep up on it too, and we can get together and talk about it on a panel. Because I think that this family needs all the support they can get based on what we know about this situation. Even if it turns, the man should not have lost his life. That's my stance on it. There's nothing, he didn't pull a weapon, he didn't have a gun that I saw, he didn't, there wasn't any kind of, you know, even if the man said, I'm going to kill you, he put his hands up. So you can't claim that you feared for your life. This was self-defense. No. Based on those video images, which are evidence, by the way, this man lost his life due to negligence because they weren't trained. That's what one of the security people said. So let me move on to the next one. This next case, Heather Fitzgerald have talked about this, and it's near of an area that she is knowledgeable of. And this is a woman that was stabbed her 3-year-old boy randomly outside a Ohio grocery store. And the grocery store is called Food Giant, I think, or something, or Giant. I'm not acclimated with that store, so I don't know what. I guess it's just a grocery store. I don't know what kind of store it is or anything like that. So if y'all know what kind of store this is, if y'all could just kind of type in the chat and give other people who aren't from the area of what kind of store this would be. You're right, Toes. You're right. I mean, but you never know. I mean, you never know. He could have been treated the same way. Maybe those security guards were just out to prove their masculinity on anyone that defied them. That defied them. You get what I'm saying? But you're right on that statement. It seemed like there was a lot of people that were wrong that day. So let's listen to this case.
Copy, I will be up. You got a med kit? Okay. Roller on the side? You good. Who's got a med kit? You're good, bro. Are you bleeding? Are you hurt anywhere?
An absolute senseless tragedy strikes a family in Ohio when a woman allegedly went on a rampage, stabbing a mother and her 3-year-old son in what police say was a random attack. The horrific attack happened on June 3rd in North Olmsted, Ohio. According to a GoFundMe, Margot Wood and her 3-year-old son Julian were walking out of the North Olmsted Giant Eagle when they were followed to their car by a random woman. Police say 32-year-old Bianca Ellis allegedly stabbed the two outside of the grocery store in what appeared to be a random act of violence. The 911 calls then rang in as one witness gave a devastating account of what she saw.
911, what is your emergency?
There is a child. He's bleeding all over the place. We're at North Olmsted Giant Eagle. I don't know what happened to him.
Okay, what exactly is going on?
There's a kid. He's bleeding all over the place. We're at Giant Eagle. He's outside. We're in the parking lot right now.
Okay, is the child conscious and breathing?
Is he breathing? I don't know. They're doing CPR on him.
They're doing CPR?
Yes, right now.
Okay, hold on 1 second. North Olmsted units, be advised there's a child that is possibly injured. They're doing CPR on him now. Okay, I'm going to stay on the phone with you for a couple more minutes. I have officers en route. I'm going to get a couple more things from you, okay?
Okay. I didn't see it. I just heard them yelling, and then we were on break in my car. I work at Giant Eagle right now.
Okay.
Then another call came in with reports of a Black woman wearing all black who was stabbing people in the grocery store parking lot.
See that large?
911, what is your emergency?
There's a lady with a knife stabbing somebody in the north.
Where?
The Giant Eagle.
She's stabbing somebody?
She's stabbing. She's walking.
North Olmsted units, start responding to North Olmsted Giant Eagle. We have several calls of somebody with a knife trying to stab people.
Right there, stop.
Do you have a description of her?
Yeah, she's a black female. We got eyes on her. She's walking towards Lorraine.
Okay, she's outside now?
She's outside walking.
Okay.
With a knife in hand.
This is going to be a black female walking towards Lorraine Road with a knife.
Black shirt, black leggings.
All black?
You're not going to follow. All black.
Is anybody injured?
Yeah, somebody's injured. I think this kid was stabbed in the mother's shoulder.
Okay, hold on a minute. Have you sat in? What else does she look like?
She's a black tall female wearing black leggings, black t-shirt. She's actually walking towards Silver Center on the meadow. Towards the
She's walking.
This is scary, guys. I mean, I know this case is older, but it is just scary. It shows the propensity of violence in anywhere that you go. I mean, I can't imagine this mother and her 3-year-old walking out to their vehicle and then getting attacked. At this point, it doesn't matter about race to me. It matters about the situation. People have evil in their hearts, and they come in all shapes, sizes, and colors. It's not a black and white thing. It's not any of that to me. It's about an individual that was set out for whatever reason to harm a 3-year-old child and a mother, And it's terrible. It's terrible. Because that division in our country and other countries, it just perpetuates violence, because, I understand your point, Truth, I get it. But when it comes to certain situations like this, I don't really see the relevance of pointing out one or the other. You know what I mean? It's like an evil woman set out to harm that day for whatever reason, whether it be a mental health problem, whether it be psychosis, whether it be schizophrenia, whether it be, drug issues, hallucination. It could have been anything. We don't know. And that's why I always say that, we have to be, as Cash pointed out, as I'm always saying, be vigilant of our surroundings, because we never know who's lurking, who is potentially going through a meltdown, who is potentially having voices in their heads, or they're not on their medication, or they believe a certain thing. These psychosis situations are real. These mental health problems are real. And it's just sad that, situations like this occur. Let me continue to play this.
Okay, hold on. Closer to Geppetto's She's literally got a knife in her right hand. Okay. 10-4 affirmative. Now she's walking towards Dover. Okay.
Get out of the way. Stop right there.
Ma'am, don't hang up the phone. I'm just going to keep you on hold. I got to get an ambulance heading there, okay?
Officers with North Olmsted PD quickly responded to the scene.
$52.12. I'm behind medic 51. We're pulling it a lot.
I mean, think about this. How many times a day do you go to the grocery store? How many times a week do you go to the grocery store? You have to be observant of people around you. I mean, I'm not trying to tell you to be paranoid, or I'm not even trying to tell you what to do. I'm suggesting the simple fact that we cannot be as free as we once were in our environments without looking around to make sure we are safe, to look for an exit in case something does happen. It's sad that we are in a community, in our country, or in a world where we have to be on a defensive tactic due to other people and their situations in life. I went to a movie theater the other night. I watched the new Twisters movie, which was pretty good, off. And I was with my family, like I was telling you, and we were all looking around for an exit. And my niece mentioned something, and she said, "I don't see an exit." And I said, "What do you mean?" She said, in case anything happens, we need to be prepared to run, to leave. And I said, "Okay, well, let's talk about this right quick before the movie starts. Where we're gonna run, what we're gonna do." I said, "But you need to calm down a little bit because nothing has happened, okay? But I want you to be mindful of things that people that come in. If you see anybody that looks out of the ordinary that, could potentially do us harm, don't be silent, okay? But be vigilant and be able to be certain, for one. Don't scream fire in a theater, if you're not certain." But, we were having that conversation. And yeah. I mean, the kids are more mindful of it than I am, really, because I've worked in some hardcore neighborhoods, some hardcore cities, where I've never been scared of my surroundings, even with everything going around, the gang, the shooting, the drive-bys, and all this other stuff. And I don't know if it's ignorance on my point or if it's just my beliefs. I don't know. But whatever it is I've never been scared, But I'm trying to teach them that it's okay to be vigilant, but to not enjoy life because you're so fearful that something could happen that might never happen, if that makes sense. You know? I don't know how you feel about that, chat. I mean, those are just my personal opinions. I'm not throwing my personal opinions on anybody, but it kind of goes with what I'm talking about in this video. You can't go to the grocery store anticipating. No, you didn't, Cash. You can't go to the grocery store anticipating that, there's going to be a mentally deranged woman outside potentially going to stab you on the way to the car. You can't. But also, that's why I constantly tell people to stay off their phones. Walking in the store, walking out. If you have to leave your phone, put it in your pocket. Whatever you need to do, because any distraction can take your mind off potentially what you could see that could save you or your family's life later on. Let's get back to the video. It looks like this happened June 3rd of 2024. So over a month ago, or 2 months ago.
Squad's pulling up now. Squad's pulling up now.
The scene in the parking lot was devastating as the body cam captures emergency crews working tirelessly to resuscitate 3-year-old Julian as he clings on to life.
Thank you for being here, Kay McGinnis. Thank you for your comment.
I believe so, yeah. Get that off. Good. Okay. Good. All right. Is there a halo test on it? Okay. Yeah. Is there anything else on the face? All right.
Let's go.
Yes, all Westlake guys.
Come on, Truth. We agree to disagree. That's terrible. Look, that shopping cart is tipped over. Everything's out of it. Did y'all see that right there? It looked like the lady vehicle is right here. You know, I mean, let me see if I can show you. You see my pointer? It looks like the lady's vehicle right here. And as they're zooming in right here, it looks like her trunk was open. Look at that. Almost like she was putting the groceries in the trunk area. There's her shopping cart. There's the little boy that they're working on. I don't even know where the mom is, but maybe she was already taken off in an ambulance. They're working on the little boy. But that is a high risk situation right there. Do you know that how many of y'all, whenever you're getting groceries, ever think, while I'm putting my groceries in here, somebody could attack me from behind? We don't think that way. We don't think that way. So whenever you're loading groceries up, maybe you could think of a safety scenario where you either have one of the kids. I mean, he was 3 years old, so he was a little boy. So I mean, maybe you could somehow. I don't see. That's why I liked in the old days, and I'm older, so I'm 52. So you know, in the old days, we had people that brought our groceries out to the car, and they unloaded it, and we watched. You know, I don't know what happened to that, but some stores do have that still, but very few. Is there any way that y'all can use your mindset together in the chat? Is there any safety way that you utilize your trunk being open and your back to the people to keep yourself safe? Is there anything you can type in the chat that would potentially help other people? Because we all go through that situation, whether it be a trunk, whether it be a back door, whether it be, loading groceries in the back of a truck. We've heard of a lot of abductions being when the person was leaning in to put the groceries or the shopping stuff in the car, and they've gotten abducted. You know, is there anything that you guys, hey Aquarius, it's fine. Guys and gals, or gals in the chat, can y'all think of any way that you could potentially help somebody brainstorm on how to be safe when your back is to other people and you're trying to leave the parking lot? Because we've seen women abducted from their cars, pushed in their car, the assailant drives off with them. You know, we've seen people grabbed, thrown in a van. We've seen people like this situation. They were attacked from the side or behind. You know, stop making this into a black and white thing. I told you, you have your beliefs. That's fine. But people don't know all your stories, so they're going to not really agree with you. I know your situation, so therefore I understand it a lot more. Yeah, Paula, exactly. You almost need somebody else to stand guard. I mean, possibly if you have a young child, maybe you can ask the cashier, hey, can the bagger walk out with me while I put or you can ask the bagger yourself, hey, I have a young child. I really don't feel safe while I'm loading the groceries. Can you walk out with me? You know, or maybe ask us, you know, somebody that you trust. I don't know. I mean, this is a tough question because it happens every day. It's happening right now as I'm speaking. There's people getting groceries. There's people shopping. There's people doing all kinds of stuff in packed parking lots, and that is a high risk situation for a lot of people. So maybe you can come together and get to a point where you can pass on some coping skills for people to be able to protect themselves from potential situations, you know?
Ready? Let me know when you're ready. Let's get him on the car. Here we go. All right, you ready? Ready? Ready, three? I'm gonna get a beat, two. Ready? Get the car ready up. Go, go, go. Go. Good.
I don't know about y'all, but I could be a paramedic or a police officer seeing that.
Medic, come in here and relieve him. Medic, come in and relieve him of his chest compression.
I didn't think you did CPR on a young child under 5 like that. I thought you put
Get him
them
on
on
out.
your
Hey, take
arm
you to a car right now. Hey, somebody go get
and
Mom.
did
She
it like
doesn't
that.
see this.
But I can see
Ready? Here you go.
why they're doing it.
Where you sitting? Okay. Hey, we need a
Oh, I was saying that I didn't think they did chest compressions on kids younger than 5 years old like that. I thought that, they placed them in their arm and they did it with their hands, but I could see why they would do it on a stretcher, especially if the child was stabbed or whatever. Um I I thought they did it different. I mean, I was under the impression that they did CPR differently on a pediatric type child. I guess 3 years old is a toddler, so I guess they're a little bigger. But in the CPR classes that I've taken, I thought I had heard that they did it on your forearm, but I could be wrong. Hey, Latina. Yeah, that's what I thought, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong. It's a sad situation. It's a sad situation. At least we loaded him up fairly quickly, and
If you saw this, come to me. If not, you guys can clear the area. If you saw this, come to me. If you guys have nothing to do with this, go ahead and go home. Thank you very much.
You saw?
See this?
You mean you were sitting right over there? We heard her screaming instantly right now.
So you didn't see the actual
You didn't see the actual crime?
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Have a great day, okay?
A short while later, another officer's body cam shows Julian's father and Margot's husband arriving to the heartbreaking scene.
Hey, you go with those guys, Dave. Yeah.
We have a chest.
We have a pulse.
Check that chest. We don't feel this.
Is that your son?
Yes.
Okay, come here. We're gonna have somebody take you to the hospital. All right? Okay, we're gonna have you take you to the hospital. Okay?
I'm parked over there.
No, you can leave your car over
Where's
there.
your keys at?
I have my keys right here.
Where's your car at?
It's the truck that's parked facing this way. I'm taking him.
Yeah, I'll be right there. I'll get your keys, so you don't worry about it. Nice. He's good.
Yeah, you are bringing up an awesome point, both of y'all, all of y'all in the chat. You know, whenever you're faced, let's say you're the first responder, the first person nearest to the crime, and once the brutal attack has happened or whatever, and the person runs off or they're captured or whatever, or they take themselves out. If you know CPR, you could potentially save somebody's life. If you know first aid, you could potentially help somebody, live a little longer or maybe save their lives, because we can't be scared to step in because every second counts. Every second counts, especially with a small child, with a adult male or female. We can't be scared to step in. We can't. And we have to have that ability to know what we're doing, so because we could use it on our own families. If somebody ever chokes, you can do the Heimlich maneuver. How many people have never done that? Don't know how to do that appropriately. How many people have taken a CPR class or haven't taken a CPR class or first aid? As far as my job's concerned, I have to do that yearly or almost every 2 years, something like that. To be proficient, and it changes so much. Before you used to put your mouth over, you clamp down the nose, tilt the head, open tilt their mouth open, and you breathed into the mouth. Now you don't breathe anymore. You just do compressions. And if you don't know, you could potentially be doing something incorrectly that, if you do it the right way, it could speed up their survival. And Truth did bring up an interesting fact. If you press too hard, either on a small child or even an elderly adult or a middle-aged adult, you could break a rib. But it's better to break a rib than to have a person deceased right there and do nothing. That's my belief anyways. I don't know what y'all think about that.
Hey. Here.
Update on them?
Look at him. What
Can you drive Can you drive, squad?
Yeah.
I need you to drive. St. John's. St. John's.
Where's the brake release on this one here?
So put your foot on the brake.
It's on the
hit
brake.
the yellow button. Put it in drive.
Very good.
And you'll go. And then your sirens are going to be up here.
These right here?
I can't
see from here. I'll get in. Okay. I'll get the box. Hey, give us like 2 seconds. No, that's fine.
The officers still on scene looked to get witness statements, as some of the witnesses were visibly shaken by the stabbings.
You okay? It's not okay for anybody to see. All right. Name, address, date of birth, driver's license, phone number. We'll take care of this. One more little while. If you need more, go to the back. No, yeah, thank you.
Ventress, just tell me what I need to do to help, buddy.
You got any more quick work just in case?
I emptied out my cruiser from stop before I ran over here.
Yeah. Extra pen. Go.
A little bit, yeah. Okay.
Can you grab my radio cord there?
Yep.
Put it down in my right arm.
Got it?
Thank you very much. Happened out here?
My
Does this take place out here? Right here.
Right there.
Literally right here. Right here.
Yes. Did you see this? Sean, what do you help with? We got statements rolling. We got Luke watching his hands up. We have him grabbing his camera. We got to secure this area right now.
Yep.
One witness recounted to the officer not hearing the suspect say a word. She just came up behind the mother and son and attacked them.
Yeah. And just stabbed.
Did she say anything?
No, I didn't hear anything. I had my windows down. I didn't hear anything. All I heard was just screaming, and the lady grabbed her child up out the cart, and that's when it fell over, and they collapsed over here, and the lady just continued to walk off, and that's when everybody just kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And I got out. There's one guy, he said, "What happened?" I said, "I don't know. I'm going to go look." I came about halfway, and I saw her trying to get away, so I hopped in the car and chased her down.
Okay.
To almost where that white building is.
Yeah.
That's when I called 911, and like literally 30 seconds later, you guys showed up.
Okay. All right, cool.
That is scary right there, what he just said. If that really happened, our perception a lot of times, especially when our adrenaline goes, our ears, they close off because the blood is going to other organs, and it's, I don't know, it's just tragic, man, just to not say anything and just all of a sudden start stabbing the mom and her child. The mom instinctively grabbed the child. That is awesome. I mean, even though the child, I believe, ultimately succumbed to his injuries. One of them did. I don't know if it was the mom or the child, but I think it was the child that succumbed to his injuries. And, oh man, it's just tough to talk about, to think that this happens in our world today. You're getting groceries in, bam. Oh, okay, Rondi, I didn't know that. So she's walking around the store is she walking around the store with the knife?
So the kid was in the car?
Yeah.
Okay. So it was in the car, and the car fell over?
Yeah.
Most likely be in touch with you within the next couple of days to kind of go over everything.
All right.
Wow.
Are there any witnesses that we need to have our medics talk to or anything? Just a pretty traumatic event.
If anybody, it's going to be him.
Okay.
I'm not saying he's asking for it, but judging by what he saw,
yeah,
I won't be surprised.
Okay.
You live in the city, or?
By this time, police have already been on the hunt for Ellis, who was found still with the knife used to commit the brutal attack.
Crossfire.
211, I need a car to go help the kid. These are the first couple aisles.
Where's your cuffs? Get cuffs? Who's got cuffs?
Slow down.
Hold on. We're good.
All right. Yep.
Okay, let me hold on a second. You are saying some good stuff. Truth says it showed her steal the knife from the thrift store, then go into the grocery store and stalk the woman. And then followed her out. Yeah, exactly. So if she stole the knife from the thrift store, she tested the strength of the blade in the back pillar outside the store before going into the grocery store. Wow. So did they, wherever y'all saw that at, did they give any kind of motive for the crime? Would the lady and her baby in the thrift store also? Did they tell on her for stealing the knife, or did she I didn't either, Christy. I didn't know that either. I learned this from Heather, so I decided to look it up and see. She tested the strength of the blade in the brick pillar outside the store before going into the grocery store. No, the lady was just in the grocery store. That's terrible. Could there have been an ongoing feud between them two, a road rage thing? Because people drive like they, yeah, true. On camera in the store. Like she went and stole the weapon, then went into the grocery store and found her victim. That is terrible. That makes this even worse. I mean, it sounds premeditated now. It sounds like she was a premeditated attack that ended up in a murder, homicide. Good Lord. Good Lord. Maybe there'll be another body cam video or another video after this one. I'll play that one, okay? Let me finish getting through this one. But that just brings it even worse.
Chad, you want me to go to the female or
There's the lady right there.
Go to the female that
Hey, she's in the first 3 rows farthest north. Copy, I will be up.
You got a med kit? Okay. You over on the side? You're good. Who's got a med kit?
We're going to get her up.
We have a female in custody.
Are you bleeding? Are you hurt anywhere?
Female in custody, 1504.
Knife right there.
5217, I'm out.
Let's get her up.
Here you go, man. Hold you up, okay?
There's the knife right there.
Are you bleeding? Are you hurt anywhere?
Female in custody, 1504.
Knife right there.
5217, I'm out.
There's the knife right. He said the knife was right there, so I saw it, but I didn't.
Let's get her up.
Here you go, man. Hold you up, okay? Grab your other arm. We're going to lift you up, okay?
Stand up, okay?
1, 2, 3, stand up. Stand up. Come on.
En route. 14's en route.
All right, let's put her in the back of
Hang
the car.
on. I'm going to check her right here.
Let's go to Giant Eagle.
Okay.
Fire's been dispatched.
You good with that?
Yeah.
Walk her back this way.
52 LO3, I got 3 units.
I wouldn't feel comfortable patting her down. I would have waited. I mean, I know they can't wait for a female officer, but I wouldn't have wanted to be the one patting her down.
1719 myself at Giant Eagle. In the parking lot, Florida aisle, if you got EMS coming. We don't have anything here for shit. Petro, out in the parking lot. We're out in the parking lot.
AC. I crank up the AC for you, okay?
We gotta get some tape. Rip this off. Get any tape back here?
Tape?
Yeah.
After Ellis's arrest, police shared more shocking details. We need to take a quick break from this shocking and truly devastating story to give a quick thanks to our sponsors at Morgan & Morgan for today's Law and Crime YouTube takeover. If you know us at Law and Crime, you also know our videos can range from wild to crazy, sometimes even disturbing, and some. According to North Olmsted Detective Sergeant Matt Beck, Ellis was inside the Volunteers of America thrift store where she obtained the knife, but it's unknown if she paid for that knife or stole it. Sergeant Beck said after leaving the thrift store, she walked over to Giant Eagle, she spotted the victims, and then followed them out of the parking lot and attacked them. And more heartbreaking details. Margot Wood was stabbed in the shoulder, but her young toddler was stabbed in the face and back, all within the span of 5 seconds. Then Ellis started walking away. 3-year-old Julian tragically died at the hospital. His mom, Margot, was treated for non-life-threatening injuries and is expected to make a full recovery. But police say the emotional trauma will likely follow her the rest of her life. Police don't believe the victims had interacted prior to the deadly attack. Bianca Lewis was arrested and faces a slew of charges, including aggravated murder, attempted murder, felonious assault, tampering with evidence, and theft. At this time, it still remains a mystery as to why Ellis attacked Margot Wood and her son. Police say she didn't have a history of violent crime. She previously was arrested in Florida for a nonviolent offense, criminal trespassing at a hotel. She reportedly tried renting a room but didn't have the money. When a front desk clerk asked her to leave, she refused. Ellis was arrested last year in North Olmsted for petty theft from a Walmart, where she pleaded guilty and was placed on probation. Sergeant Beck mentioned during the press conference she was arrested in late May on a probation violation and later released. But right before the attack, she was at the police station inquiring about property she had left behind. Ellis's alleged actions have left behind a trail of devastation, as a family is now left without their beloved son. A GoFundMe page set up by Julian's aunt to help the Wood family gave a heartbreaking glimpse into what their family is dealing with after the tragedy. The description reads in part, "She has devastated our family beyond words. She took something from us we can never get back. Our family is overwhelmed with sadness and overwhelmed with the loving support the community has already provided us. This will be an incredibly long journey to recovery, but truthfully, we will never recover. But we will continue to share stories about our beautiful baby boy, his laugh, his cheesy smile, his rambunctious attitude, his love of dinosaurs, his love of school, his obsession with his new baby sister, and wrestling his big brother every chance he gets, and all the other beautiful things about that sweet little boy. This is something no person, no family, no mother, no father, no grandmother should ever experience. We urge you all to hold your babies close. This should have never happened." As Ellis now waits for her day in court, a family is now left with a piece of their heart missing, with one hope: to receive justice. Bianca Ellis is scheduled to be arraigned on the charges on June 10th. She's still being held behind bars on a reported $1 million bond. Reporting for Law and Crime, I'm Elizabeth Milner.
Wow. There's no words. No words. You know, I'm glad they showed, the rest of that because, you guys were talking about it, and not that I didn't believe you, but I wanted to show where they got that at, for an individual, I used to work at a Volunteers of America halfway house. So when they said that was a VOA thrift store, I understand what that's all about. But for an individual to test out a knife and then watch somebody walk out to their vehicle and then attack them blindly, and one of the family to lose their lives, I mean, Man, that is just tragic. These two cases are tragic that I've highlighted today, Neither one of them is less heartbreaking, neither one of them. And see, when I started this channel, this is what I thought true crime was about. When you showed stuff like this on a daily, or as you wanted to, to show the avenues of the crime taking place and to talk about it. That's what I thought that true crime was about. Um, I'm gonna continue doing that. And if you want me to highlight any case that you'd like to the chat to be exposed to. I've seen that y'all put some cases up in the chat. I've never heard of them, but if you guys can kind of give me in the comments any cases that you'd like for me to look into, and if there's any YouTube footage or any YouTube videos that collaborate as factual information, put all that together and I will do that for you guys, because the only reason I knew about this one is, like I said, Heather talked about it to me, and she talked about it in another chat I was in, and the other one I just happened to bump into it. So I just I think it is it is imperative that we take from these two videos that it's never okay to put our hands on somebody, even if they're in a hotel and we're wanting to be helpful. Um, it's never okay to watch people hurting somebody, especially if they're not being violent. Always be vigilant and call 911 or try to find somebody to intervene. You know what I mean? Try to find somebody to intervene, because that first case was just heartbreaking. That individual might still be here, regardless of was going what was going on during. They brought up the drug issue, they brought up him running through the hotel, all that. None of that constitutes somebody losing their lives the way he did. In this second case, the same thing. It doesn't matter the perplexity of, you know, if we later found out that she was a drug addict or that she was mentally unstable, that baby didn't deserve to die, regardless of what the lady was going through. That doesn't make it right. It's almost like we limit the fact that the people lose their lives as long as we have a rational understanding of what and why it happened, then we're okay with the person dying. I mean, I can't be your moral compass. I can't. But to me, that's not okay. That's not okay. The fact that the person still lost their lives, that's the important part in the case, not the reason why it happened. You know? There's and that's just the way that I feel and the way that I believe is, it's okay to have the evidence. It's okay to have the facts. But when you focus more on the facts and the evidence to try to negate the fact that somebody lost their lives, I think that that's just tragic for the victim. I think it's tragic for the victim. And, um, I don't know. That's just my belief system. Y'all could think differently. Y'all could have a different understanding or a different take on it. And like I always say, it's okay. We agree to disagree, and that is the best thing that we can do. Whether it be in chat, whether it be with me up here, talking about criminal acts and things of that nature. As long as we stay classy, because we can't change other races regarding the perpetuity of violence. I mean, in Chicago, there's There's nightly shootings. There's people dying. Does it make it okay because it's such an urban area that poverty is rampant and drugs and all this other stuff? No, it doesn't make it okay. It doesn't make it okay. We need to, as a community here on YouTube, I believe, to start focusing on the victim rather than the suspect as much. It's okay to research the suspect and their history, but when we start to try to dissect the why they did it and understand it, we may never understand it because we're not in that mindset at the current moment. And unless you've ever been a killer, I don't think you'll ever be in that mindset. So, it's just sad. Yes, exactly, Christy. We do need to speak up and let other people know, that there's somebody walking around with a knife in the store, that, we have, it just, we we used to look out after each other, and I know that there's still good people out there. I don't diminish that or minimize that at all. There is good people out there still. We just saw it in that video footage. People rushed to that lady's aid. They called 911. That one guy, got in his car and he drove to where that lady was and kind of held her at bay until the cops came. There are good people out there. So don't get in that mindset, if you can, to think that the whole world is evil, because there's a battle going on, obviously, between right and wrong. And I believe the more that we focus on the right, eventually we'll start turning it a little bit. I could be wrong. I could be a dreamer, but that's just my that's my take on it. I've never seen negativity turned into a positive situation, especially when it comes to murdering other people. I don't see how that could eventually make it okay to think that the murderer was this or that and the other, and okay their action and not focus on the victims losing their lives. So in these cases, was it the people that lost their lives' fault that the person who decided to kill them was not in their right mind for whatever reason? No, it wasn't okay. Tell that to the families that have to live with their loved one being gone. And I know that some of you in the chats have survived a lot of traumatic, tragic events in your lives, and you have a firsthand understanding of it. The only situation I have that I can relate to it is childhood abuse. I mean, that's it. And it was tremendous. And other than that, I haven't really experienced anything like what I report on. And thank God. I just believe that we as a community on here, that we can change, we can make a difference if we quit throwing daggers at the suspects and focus on the victims, on how to move past these situations, just like what I was talking about earlier, learning CPR, learning first aid, learning, how to use certain things that you've never ever have used before to potentially help somebody in a crisis, because we never know when we're going to stumble on a crisis. And some people freeze up, and that's just humans. But there's some people that spring into action. They want to do something. And those people, if they know CPR, if they know first aid, they know certain things, they could potentially save a life. And that's my whole point in all this is, you know, step outside your comfort zone a little bit, because you never know when you might have to save your family or you might have to save somebody else's. And it's always a good thing to be proactive rather than reactive, because when you're reacting, you know, you're not really clear. The first video showed a lot of reactive behaviors rather than proactive. If they would have kept themselves calm, the individual might have calmed down. He might have sat down and said, okay, you're right. I need to just wait until somebody comes and either arrests me or takes me to a detox where I can get help. Now he's no longer here to have an option of choice. And it's nobody should take that choice away from anybody just because you feel that your belief is right and their actions are wrong. That's just my belief on things. And I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed the cases. I hope you enjoyed the chats. Just try to remember when you come in here, try to keep it as calm as possible. We do have our thoughts. We do have our opinions. They're valid. Let's just not turn it into a I'm right, you're wrong type thing. Okay. I appreciate all of you today. And I appreciate all of you every time I'm on. So I'm gonna reschedule the live that I have set for tonight, the one that I talked about last night, because I'm not ready to present that one yet. So you guys be vigilant out there. Try to protect yourself from potential avenues that we take for granted for so many years. Put your phone down. Give yourself time to look at your environment rather than being in your phone. You know? And I hope you guys have an awesome Monday. And I will see you soon. Take care, guys. Maestro, cue that music. And by the way, hit the like button if you like the videos, like the commentary, and subscribe if it's your first time here. And if you want to take it a step further and you really enjoy the community, you might become a member or gift a membership to somebody. But that's not necessary in order to be here, okay? So, Maestro, once again, cue that music.